Hi everyone, I am Stella. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to break down the listening section of the LanguageCert Academic Exam. First, let's highlight the key points. The whole listening test includes 4 parts and takes about 40 minutes. Don't worry, the questions aren't separately timed and every audio clip is played twice, so pace yourself and stay calm. In part 1, you'll hear 7 short conversations between 2 people. Here's the format: person A speaks, person B replies, and then A speaks again. Your job is to choose the correct response for B from 3 options. Pay close attention to tone, attitude, and intonation. These small details often guide you to the right answer. Also, make sure to catch the key information quickly. Now, let's try a sample question.
Listening Part 1. You will hear some short conversations. You will hear each conversation twice. Choose the correct answer to complete each conversation. Conversation 1.
I'm about to go to the library. Do you want a lift there?
Yeah, thanks, but I've just got to sort out my bag and find my notebook.
Okay, let's go in 5 minutes then.
Conversation 1.
I'm about to go to the library. Do you want a lift there?
Yeah, thanks, but I've just got to sort out my bag and find my notebook.
Okay, let's go in 5 minutes then.
Got it? The correct answer is B. Did you get it right? In part 2, you'll listen to 5 short conversations, each followed by 2 multiple choice questions. Before the audio starts, quickly scan the questions and options, highlight the keywords in your head. So you know what to listen for, let's check a sample.
Twice. Conversation 1. You hear 2 students called Ruby and Leo talking about a group presentation they're preparing.
What's wrong, Ruby? You look a bit worried.
It's just our presentation on Wednesday, Leo. Why did I think it was a good idea to have our practice run-through on Tuesday evening?
That's when everyone was free.
But we'll have left it too late to sort things out if they're not working. What if Jonathan has a problem? If his projector isn't working or he needs to add more photos or graphs? We won't have any time to fix it.
Calm down, Ruby. It'll turn out okay. Look on the bright side. You put together a great team who really know their stuff. Me doing the research and Meg's on the script. And Alex is comfortable in front of a crowd, so you chose well there too. Making him the lead speaker was genius. You get the best out of people, Ruby, and we won't let you down.
Oh, do you really think so?
For question 8, the answer is B. For question 9, the answer is C. Nice. Did you get both correct? Part 3 is a bit more challenging. You'll hear an academic monologue like a lecture or a presentation. Your task is to complete the notes with short answers, 1 to 3 words. You'll get 30 seconds to preview the notepad before the audio starts. Keep in mind that the notes are just an outline. You must follow the details in the audio carefully and match them to the right blanks. And don't forget to check your spelling. Even a small mistake can cost you points. Here is a sample. Pause the video if you want more time to look at the notes.
Hi everyone. I'm going to tell you about some research into cave art on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi. Now, Sulawesi has long been well known for its abundant cave art. That was first reported in the 1950s. Until recently, however, the prevailing view was that this art was the handiwork of Neolithic farmers who arrived around 4,000 years ago from southern China, rather than the hunter-gatherers who'd lived on Sulawesi for tens of thousands of years. Thanks to the work of Adam Brumm, an Australian archaeologist, we now know that this isn't correct. In 2014, Brumm re-evaluated the age of the South Sulawesi rock art. Based on the now standard method for dating, uranium series analysis of mineral deposits that formed naturally on the art, he showed that a stenciled painting of a human hand found in one cave was created at least 40,000 years ago. This makes it compatible in age with the famous Ice Age cave art found in Europe. Subsequently, Brumm's team dated a spectacular painting at another cave called Liang Bulu Sipong 4 in the south of Sulawesi at 44,000 years old. It's almost 5 meters in width and shows, beyond much doubt, a type of buffalo called an anoa, plus the wild pigs found on Sulawesi. Alongside them are smaller figures that look human, but also have animal features such as tails and snouts. These hybrid figures are hunting the animals. The painting may therefore feature the oldest depictions of supernatural beings, although there's some dispute about this. But in his latest research paper, Brumm reports finding a new painting that we think is even older. Back in 2017, he started visiting an isolated valley set in mountainous terrain near Makassar, one of Indonesia's largest cities. Despite its proximity to a major urban centre, there's no road to this valley, and the small community of local farmers live a secluded existence. It's a pristine environment and a place of natural beauty. The valley harbours a limestone cave. Inside it, Brumm's team found a rock painting the locals claimed they'd never noticed before. It portrays images of the Sulawesi warty pig, a small, short-legged wild boar endemic to the island. Painted in red ochre, it's very clear and shows one pig watching 2 others. At this point, the images become less clear as they're only partially preserved, but it looks like they may well be engaged in social interaction that might conceivably be fighting, but you can't see enough to hypothesize about that. Brumm dated the painting to at least 45,000 years ago. And that's the really exciting bit, because this cave painting may well be the earliest ever portrayal of the animal kingdom. Some experts have speculated that it represents possibly the earliest figurative art yet uncovered. In other words, an image that resembles the thing it's intended to represent. As for Brumm, he interprets the surviving elements of this artwork as a narrative composition. Of course, this is a feature of how we use images today, but it's an uncommon feature in early cave art. Dating rock art is very difficult at the best of times. But Brumm's team were fortunate to identify a small calcite deposit, popcorn as scientists call it, that had formed on top of one of the pig figures. Brumm sampled the calcite and analysed it for uranium series dating. Amazingly, the dating work returned an age of 45,500 years ago. His discovery underlines the global importance of Sulawesi and the wider Indonesian region for our understanding of where and when the first cave art traditions developed by our species arose. The great antiquity of this artwork also offers hints at the potential for other significant findings in this part of the world.
Now, let's review the answers. Finally, part 4. This time you'll hear an academic discussion with 3 speakers. There are 6 multiple choice questions. You'll have 1 minute before the audio to read all the questions and options. Use that time wisely, spot the keywords, and focus on what each question is asking. The discussion is usually long and logically complex. Some questions are direct, but 2 to 3 will test inference, things like implied attitudes or hidden conclusions. So stay sharp and follow the shifts in opinion between speakers. Here is a sample. Pause if you want to preview the questions first.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Dan Archer, and today I'm going to take a closer look at a collection of essays by a group of education specialists from the UK, Europe and Australia. They argue that academics need to change the way they approach research, and their book's called Doing Rebellious Research in and Beyond the Academy. To discuss it with me today are Helena Kingsland, an educational researcher at Sydney University, and Phil Taylor, a freelance science journalist. Hi, and welcome to my podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm going to start with a quote from the year 1988. Back then, in the prologue to Doing Rebellious Research, the anthropologist Mary Pratt said of academics, "How could such interesting people, doing such interesting things, produce such dull books?" Is that it, in a nutshell? What do you think, Helena?
I'd say this book explores more than that, Dan. It's not just questioning whether speaking at academic conferences and publishing scholarly articles should be the main ways of disseminating research. If you look at the case studies in the book, it also talks about changing the way research is done in the first place, the need to add to the usual stock of research tools. Take the case study of what they call thesis drabbling.
What's that one?
It's where the students summarised their thesis in 100 words of stream of consciousness writing.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
Especially because the students themselves said that it helped them to focus on the real purpose of their research thesis and to reconnect emotionally with why they wanted to do it in the first place.
I'm glad you've mentioned that because I think that's a key theme of this book, especially the essays about hip-hop poetry or circus acts to spread research findings to a wider audience. And it's something that really resonated with me. You see, I didn't come from an academic background. My parents didn't go to university, but they'd let me watch the Royal Institute's lectures every year.
The televised lectures that present science to young people?
Yes, and I was gripped by them. The best lecturers used jokes and were full of genuine, wide-eyed wonder at the world around us. The essays in this book are also about finding the joy in learning and provoking curiosity and surprise. Reading them took me right back to being 10 and sitting in front of the TV and wondering whether I could be a scientist too.
But just for the sake of argument here, aren't you going to get laughed out of the room if you employ the same tactics in a university setting? And aren't you running the risk of being accused of oversimplifying or dumbing down your subject if you use magic or dance or whatever to present your research?
Professor Pamela Bernard, one of the book's co-editors, actually expects the book to be written off by some of her fellow scholars. But she also makes it very clear that she and the book's authors firmly believe they're doing what academics are meant to do.
To be challenging and get a reaction, not boring and conventional.
Precisely. She warns that unless academics communicate in more engaging ways, they'll end up getting lost in all the noise of our modern media age. That's certainly true.
Bernard's absolutely right about that. If academics are hoping to address global warming, political upheavals, food shortages or whatever, their emphasis must be on getting their message heard.
And not just by the general public, by other academics in other fields who might benefit.
Aren't our modern universities all about being interdisciplinary, actively encouraging collaboration between the subjects?
In theory, maybe, but I have colleagues who sit in isolation, busy with their research, rarely talking with people in other departments, let alone people in other institutions.
To be fair though, Helena, that's the result of how the whole thing's set up. It's a structural problem, a consequence of dividing knowledge up into distinct areas with their own conventions and jargon.
But just doing what's always been done before isn't good enough anymore.
Maybe so.
Well, that's certainly the feeling behind these essays.
Now, let's check the answers together. And that's the full breakdown of the 4 question types in the LanguageCert Academic Listening section. In the next video, we'll go over practical strategies to help you tackle these tasks with confidence. Thanks for watching and see you next time.